I signed up to become an every delivery driver because on paper it seemed like one of the easiest ways to make some extra money. All you have to do is drive around, drop off some parcels and get paid. Nice and simple. Except after less than a week, I quit. Now before anyone gets angry in the comments, this isn't an every slander video. I'm not saying that nobody should work there. There are loads of people that make a full-time income working for every. This is just my personal experience and there were a lot of things that caught me off guard. And if you're new here, this channel is pretty much just me documenting different ways to make money. None of the get rich overnight stuff, but just different side hustles, jobs and online income methods to see if they're actually worth it or not. Some of them will be great and some of them will be complete disasters. Either way, you'll see exactly what happens here, the good, the bad, how much I make, and whether I'd actually recommend you doing it for yourself. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's get into how much I made and how I found the experience working for every. The first thing that surprised me was how quickly I got hired. I applied and it took about 5 minutes, and not even 10 minutes later, I got an email saying that my spot had been confirmed and they were going to send me a course. Now maybe that's completely normal, but that really surprised me. A bit of context about me, I've only been driving for like 4 months, and normally for these kind of delivery jobs, they expect you to have 6 months to 1 year of flawless driving. So me getting hired within 10 minutes of them actually receiving my application was a shock. It definitely made me question how desperate they were for drivers. Still, I thought why not and I gave it a try. I loaded up the app and went through the entire video course, and that process was nice and easy, simple video, easy to watch, and it was a breeze. Now, the next day, I was called in for my training, and if I'm being honest, the depot was busy, there were a lot of guys loading their cars. I'm thinking it's just a normal job. The training process was really smooth and every did a pretty good job there. I didn't feel confused about anything, I could ask questions when I needed to, and the whole process was nice. Honestly, the concept is brilliant. You collect your parcels, load your car, follow the app, deliver everything, and that's it. I genuinely thought it was going to be one of the most chill jobs where I just have AirPods in and I'm just driving around. But during the first shift, I realized there's a really big part of the job that nobody talks about. Actually loading your car. The big thing about loading your car is you don't get paid at all for it. So if you take 2 hours to load a car, that's 2 hours of unpaid work. Another thing is, you may be thinking, how long could it be to just load a car? You're just putting parcels in the car. It's not like that at all. You have to remember that these rounds normally stem from about 40 to 80 packages, typically for like a regular car. Like for me, I drive a Mazda, so I'm not going to fit over 100 packages in this car. The most I did in one round was about 90 on day 3. Now, the way they actually structured the car was like this. They would section your car into four areas, and for section 1, you would have the first 10 stops. Section 2, you'd have the next 10, etc. And it made a lot of sense. It meant you didn't have to dig around your entire car to find a parcel that's in one of your first 10 stops. Or you'd only have to look in that one section. Now, another thing that could be confusing at first would be, how do you determine which package goes in which section? But every actually had an idea for that as well, and it's called load assist. You pretty much just scan the packages and it'll tell you which number stop it is on the route that they designed for you. And you just put it into the correct section according to that. And it made a lot of sense. And you're thinking, what could possibly be wrong with this? All you have to do is use load assist, put them in the right section, and you're set. Well, that would be the case if there wasn't a huge problem with load assist. Imagine you've just finished spending about 40 minutes of unpaid work loading your car. You've used load assist, so it's taking a bit longer than just slapping everything in the car, but you know exactly where everything is on each stop, you're organized, you're ready to go. You're following the sat nav to the first stop and you deliver the parcel with no hitches, no problem. Then you see that the second stop is on the complete other side of your postcode. You're thinking, okay, maybe all the other parcels are in that area or they're in that direction. You're following the route, right? It makes sense. So you follow the app that's sending you to a completely different spot and you arrive there. 5 minutes later, it brings you back to the location you were originally at and you see that you had another parcel 2 doors down. This was my everyday experience. I'll do delivery on one road, drive to the complete opposite side because I'm following the route they gave me, and they would tell me when I'm on that side to drive all the way back to where I originally was. So instead of grouping all the parcels that are in the same location together, they spread them out in a random order across the actual route. Now, I'm not sure why they do this. Maybe there are different times, like maybe if someone's done premium delivery, they're supposed to get their parcel first. Someone that has normal delivery gets it later. I don't know. But all I know is that was the most frustrating thing about the job ever. Not only am I wasting petrol going here, then back, then here and back, it takes a lot longer for me to actually finish the round, which means I'm making less per hour. After my first shift, I was honestly drained, even though I only did 40 packages. And it got me thinking, people are doing this for a living, right? So let me ask for some advice for guys who have a lot more experience than me. Because I was trained to use load assist by the person who was teaching me, because in theory it works. But when I actually went down to do it practically, it was not good at all. I came in the next day with an open mind thinking, okay, it was my first day. I can't expect everything to go perfect. Now that I know kind of what's going on, I know the process, I can think of a better way of doing this. I also asked a couple other guys at the depot what the best way of organizing your car was, and they gave me some pretty good advice. They told me that it's a lot more efficient to design my own route. And although it'll take me a lot longer to get stuff in my car, it would definitely help me save a lot of time on the road. So instead of using load assist, this time I read through all the packages myself and organized it by street. And luckily for me, the route I was on only had about 6 or 7 streets in total that you go to. And considering there was about 70 to 80 packages on this route, that wasn't bad at all. It meant I'll just have to drive to one street, do all those parcels, then I'm done with that street and I go to the next. And to be honest, it was a lot better. The only downside to that strategy is that it takes quite a bit longer to load your car. But considering that you're saving a lot more time, petrol and energy on the road, I would say it's worth it. So for anyone that's about to just start doing EVRi or that want to give it a try for themselves, that's what I would recommend. I would say, unless they've had some sort of update, don't use load assist. Okay, let's talk about how much I made. Because at the end of the day, that's the whole reason why you take any job. At the time I'm recording this, EVRi pay about 50p to 70p for a small parcel, and big parcels would be around £1 to £1.20. Now at first, it doesn't sound too bad. You think if I just deliver loads and I'm really quick, it adds up. And also, it means it's a complete skill issue. So if someone is really quick, they can be making a lot more than someone who's not. Now that was another enticement for me to work there, because I'm thinking, if I can master this and become really efficient, I can make a lot more than what other people will make in a fixed income. But what you also have to consider is that you're using your own car. Now this comes at an added cost already because you have to have a car. Another thing is you're paying for fuel. You're putting miles on your own vehicle. Like EVRi don't provide a car for this. You're depreciating your car every time you work because you're putting more mileage on it. So you have to think about that aspect before you take this kind of job. Are you making enough for all those drawbacks to be worth it? Well, for my first shift, when I sat down and I did the maths based on how long I took to load, pay petrol and do all the packages, I calculated that I would be making about £6.40 an hour. You heard me correctly. Pennies. Before you say, oh wow, you only get paid £6 an hour, I was really slow. It was my first shift. My second shift, I was already making a lot more per hour. Like the first shift, I was slow as heck. This is because I didn't really know what I was doing. Now, by the time I got to like day 4 or day 5, I was making about £9-10 an hour. So I was already getting a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. I was delivering more parcels as well. Like day 1, I only delivered 40 parcels. By day 3 and day 4, they were giving me 90 to 100. Now, it may seem like I'm digging into EVRi saying, don't do it at all. Let me tell you why it could be really good. The biggest advantage is the flexibility. You're not tied to a fixed schedule, which means you can work whatever days you want. If I wanted to go and work right now, I could, as long as I get there before 1 p.m. And from my experience, based in the area that I'm at, there is always work available. I could work every single day for the next 2 weeks and not have a problem. As in, there's always packages for me to deliver. For a lot of people, that's probably the biggest selling point. For anyone that's just trying to get out there, get a job, work straight away, this is for you. For a job as well, that's not common. Like, I have a job in retail, and there's a lot of weeks where I get my shifts cut down based on availability or how busy the shop is. But for EVRi, there's always work available. And this is a random summer. If it was like Q4 where we have Christmas and holidays, that's when you're going to be making a lot more per parcel and you're going to be working a lot more. There are definitely seasons where this would be worth it. Like even me, that I didn't enjoy my experience, I'm considering just doing a couple weeks during the Christmas time to get a piece of the bonus that is coming in through that season. I also like the freedom that you had on the job. When you're out on the road, nobody is looking over your shoulder, checking over you, seeing what's going on. You have complete freedom, which means if I want to be blasting music the entire shift, I can do that. I can take a lunch break, I can relax and take a break whenever I want as well. Literally my second shift, because I'm doing it in the area where I live in, I delivered about 30 parcels and Jenny just went home and chilled for a bit because I clocked. Like, I can just do this later. As long as I'm done and delivering within the designated times they gave me, I can do this whenever I want. So a big selling point, and for anyone that values working on their own, working independently, not relying on anyone else to do your own work, this is for you. This is the kind of job that I would recommend. For anyone that's looking for flexibility as well, where their schedule is always constantly changing. Some weeks they can work Monday to Friday, some weeks they can only work on the weekends. I'd also recommend this to you. So here's the verdict. For the random person, would I recommend them EVRi? Honestly, it's not that simple. If you're a fast learner and you don't mind organizing yourself and your own routes, then this is for you. You're getting paid parcel for parcel. So the more organized and the quicker you learn, the better. And if you have any sort of previous experience doing delivery, I would also recommend it because you're already ahead of the curve. You're already going to be making more than what the average person's making. And if you're watching this video as a brand new person with no experience, I just want to say, give it a go and go in there with realistic expectations. The job isn't as free as it looks on surface level. For me, it just wasn't worth it. I don't regret trying it at all. That's the whole point of being young. You're trying new stuff, you're seeing what works for you and what doesn't. I am going to keep testing different jobs and different hustles, and eventually I'm going to find one that I'm thinking, wow, this is insane. Some ideas will make a lot of money, some ideas won't. That's just the reality. So if you do want to follow the journey and see what I try next, don't forget to subscribe. And anyone who's already worked at EVRi before, I would love to hear what you think about what I've said today and your entire take on working for EVRi. Is there a skill shoot on my end, or is that just what it's normally like? I would love to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.